This international student life. We tell stories, and our story is international student education. And this morning we'd like to tell you about some news that will be of interest to all international students in Indonesia. And we'll get into that right after this short welcome to the city of Melbourne for every international student in Melbourne, from Melbourne's Lord Mayor, Sally Capp, held at Melbourne's famous Queen Victoria Market in March 2023. Don't go away, we'll be right back with all the news about the 3 new Australian university campuses to be set up in Indonesia.
And we are absolutely delighted to be with you tonight for this very special Queen Victoria Market night market, which is all about welcoming our international students. Students over the last 3 years, and we've also been so grateful to those who stayed for persisting and showing so much resilience. Our latest stats show that there are 138,000 international students back in Victoria, which is 92% of pre-pandemic levels. Woohoo! Because international students aren't just valuable on our campuses and in our tertiary institutions, they're fantastic customers and consumers, they're wonderful participants and volunteers, they're incredible workers in our local businesses particularly, and this is about setting up relationships for the long term. If you are an international student, could you please put your hand up?
Yes, hello, hello, hello. Hi. 5 o'clock in
What sort of music you're going to have?
Volunteers to compete.
Okay, welcome back, and we hope you enjoyed that short introduction to Melbourne. So, what has the Australian government announced in July 2023 with the Indonesian government? Well, let's just keep the footage running that you can see what Orientation Week is like here in Melbourne. And we'll just play some footage with regards to the RMIT campus in Melbourne, Australia. We'll just skip ahead here. And you can see lots of fun activities taking on there. So let's talk a little bit more about the announcement. And this announcement was made on the 4th of July, 2023. 3 Australian universities are to set up campuses in Indonesia. The Minister for Education, Australia's Minister for Education, Clare, farewelled Indonesia's President Joko Widodo as he left after a state visit to Australia. And Clare announced that Western Sydney University, Deakin University and CQUniversity, all 3 universities will set up and establish new campuses in Indonesia. With Clare, the Federal Minister for Education, for Australia, shook hands with President Joko Widodo, and saying it was an honour to farewell the Indonesian President at the airport. And the announcement that 3 Australian universities will set up campuses in Indonesia is great news for Indonesia and Australia. What I'd like to do now is just read a few more details to you, taken from the media release from the Prime Minister of Australia, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who commented. He also he said, and I quote, "I thank President Widodo for joining me in Sydney today for warm and productive discussions at the annual leaders meeting. Australia and Indonesia working together, are committed to meeting the challenges and opportunities of the future. Indonesia is a country of vital importance to Australia. Its prosperity, security and stability makes the Indo-Pacific region more prosperous, more secure and more stable. With regards to this announcement, you will have heard him refer to the annual leaders meeting. Now, did you know that as Southeast Asia's, and I'm quoting from the Australian Prime Minister's media release from the 4th of July 2023, did you know that the Southeast Asia's largest economy is Indonesia, and it will play a central role in the Australian government's Southeast Asia economic strategy to 2040. So I'll skip straight ahead to no doubt what our audience wants to know. Education has long been a key pillar of the bilateral relationship and a source of warm friendships between Indonesian students, Australian students and young professionals from each country. And leaders welcomed Western Sydney University, Deakin University and Central Queensland University's intention to open campuses in Indonesia. And they will join Monash University, which opened a campus of its own in Jakarta in 2022. And more than 200,000 Indonesian students have studied at Australian tertiary institutions. And 2023, again from the Australian Prime Minister, 2023 marks the 70th anniversary of Australia's scholarships for Indonesian students. Prime Minister Albanese announced a new program to enhance the Study in Australia experience for Indonesians and new avenues for Indonesians to study at the growing number of Australian campuses in Indonesia. The Prime Minister of Australia also launched a revamped program to encourage more Australian students to study and learn about Indonesian language and culture. And just going back to the facts around Indonesia being Southeast Asia's largest economy, there's two-way trade between Indonesia and Australia, and it has recovered since the pandemic and is now at record levels. Exports to Indonesia from Australia are reaching $14.6 billion in 2022. And leaders agreed that there is more to be done to increase economic integration and two-way investment. And they welcomed a number of new commercial deals and discussed opportunities for both countries. And we'll leave that off there as it gets into topics that are not related to international student education. So what do you think? Is this something that appeals to you? We're sure that Indonesian students who might not be able to travel to Australia to study, it's a big financial commitment for families to send their students to Australia. With 3 new university campuses giving you more choice, you'll now have 4 Australian universities soon offering Australian accredited university subjects and pathways within Indonesia. What do you think? Is this good news for you and your family? What do your friends think? Please let us know. So this is a short news announcement, which we're going to be doing a few of these today, the 11th of July 2023. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And speaking of new campuses, did you know that in 2022, Victoria University established its own new campus in Queen Street in Melbourne, a new tower campus, and this is actually an aggregation where they will merge campuses that were spread all around the city, some campuses that and its library facility in Flinders Street, a number of international student offices, administration offices, also their hairdressing salon, and a couple of other TAFE courses that ran out of their King Street campus will now be students will now be able to study directly in the centre of Melbourne. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and don't forget to please like this content, subscribe if you can, and please share it on all your social media with your friends, family. You might also be a tertiary professional in Australia or overseas. You might be an international recruitment agent who helps international students or parents who are trying to decide between which places might make available the best tertiary and further education studies as undergraduates or postgraduates in Australia. We'll finish off here by giving you a look at Victoria University's new Tower campus. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll chat to you soon.